Da, 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 da. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, KocoSports.com proudly presents Wrestle AM. It's half wrestling show, half morning show, pretty much all BS. And of course, you got the Coco crew here holding it down live. Actually, just me, yours truly, the sexiest man on all Overnet Wrestling Radio. It's right, boom, boom, here's Shaking the Room, live from the RVA, Richmond, Virginia. Well, kids, another NXT is in the books. We saw the return of the former champion Finn Balor. And of course, I'm going to ask the first question I'm going to ask. It's the first question we ask on every show that we do. What do you give tonight's show? Do you give it a win, a loss, or a tie? So over here in the chat room or down here in the comment sections, please tell me what you thought about tonight's show and why. It's very important here. We were trying to be a little bit more interactive. So, let me know what you're thinking. Ask me some questions. I'll try to get this show knocked out here. As for me, I'm going to give it a tie. Not that it was necessarily bad. It just wasn't that great either. The show, to me, was just kind of average. This was if I could describe like a typical episode of NXT, this would be it, because you had a little bit of an angle to start out with some things. Then after that, you had one decent match featuring a couple of guys who, and when I say couple of guys, I mean like people who are actually on the roster, not like these jobbers that they bring in. You had one of those. Then you had just some more spatterings of stuff. You had some stuff setting up for angles for later episodes. And then you had a main event where you had some people that were, are on the roster and known. So while it was not a bad show, it just didn't really jump out to me. So again, please let me know what you think over here in the comment section. Do you give it a win, loss, or tie? Again, I give it a tie. So you're ready to break this bad boy down. I say let's break it down here. Of course, the show starts out with the return of Finn Balor. We did not have to wait long for this. He came out, and after he's actually set the record for the for holding the NXT Championship. He held it for 292 days, which is a record, by the way. So him coming out there without the belt, that to me almost looked naked, coming out there without it. It was just such an odd thing. And then he was sitting there talking about, they've had with him and Samoa Joe, they've been through war before. They had, 2 matches, and then they had that match in Massachusetts, and then he's getting ready. I guess I would assume was going to be a challenge to Samoa Joe, but Elias Samson interrupted with a guitar, and he came out saying he wrote a song for Finn Balor, started singing, said that he's nothing without his belt. He walked right up behind Balor. Balor in turn hit him with the Pele kick, tossed him out of the ring, then threw his guitar at Samson. I was not a big fan of this because I really felt like it just fell flat, because I know the whole purpose is to interrupt him, because you want to have an excuse to have the former champion get in there and wrestle again to kind of get, try to reestablish himself that he's, after that loss, you want to get some heat, and I didn't mean that in a positive way, some heat back on him, that he is still a good wrestler. He, lost the belt. Now he's he's gunning for revenge. He wants to get his championship back. And so he's going to have to do it at somebody else's expense, and that would happen to be Elias Samson. But ultimately, I felt like it fell flat. There was nothing accomplished, because he didn't get to say, what he was going to say with Samoa Joe, and then there was no formal challenge extended. There was no William Regal coming out there to say, hey, you can't. In fact, you know what, Samson, if you really want to wrestle him that bad, if you really think he's nothing, why don't you prove it when we have a match later tonight? Something like that. However, that wasn't meant to be. They do address this a little bit later. Next, they show a little package about Eric Young showing up at NXT last week and all the buzz on Twitter. I think I like Eric Young. I like him in NXT. I'm hoping they reach some kind of agreement. Right now, he's not signed with them. I would like to see him perhaps sign with it. And maybe somebody else from TNA, Wink, sign on. So well, what can I say? There's not much I can really say about it other than I am a fan of Eric Young joining NXT. Next, then we go backstage with Andrea DeMarco. She asked Finn what he was going to say to Samoa Joe, but he said, "You know what? I'll deliver that message after I kick Elias Samson's ass." So there we go. They've got the match, the set. It's on. Then next we have some tag team action. American Alpha taking on Hollis and Skyler. This was, and I hate to say it, guys, but let me ask your opinion on this, Infantry. You guys have never lied to me. You've never let me down. I want to ask a honest question here. Do you think American Alpha has turned into routine wrestlers? You know, and I know some of you kind of scratching your heads. Well, what do you mean by routine wrestlers? Because here's how a lot of the American Alpha matches are going. They come out really hot. The crowd's hot for them. They go out there, they start wrestling to show off that amateur background, which is fine. They really take the early lead, and then they start to struggle. Then they struggle. One of them gets thrown into like the other guy's corners. They get beat up. They get the ring cut off. They're struggling to make the tag. Eventually, the other one, and the only thing that switches up is who gets that hot tag. Is it either Jordan or is it Gable? They get basically the partner gets the hot tag. They come in there. They clean house. They kind of get their bearings back. They start to dominate again, and then eventually Gable gets tagged in, and then they hit the grand amplitude and get the win. So, and that's not necessarily just a bad thing, but I think both of those guys with their pedigree, I think they're so much more capable than like being routine wrestlers. So, and that's a minor complaint. But then the Revival comes out. There's a stare down. We're gonna have a takeover coming up. I wonder who the opponent should be. Because you got a Revival, you have to have that rematch because they're the former champions. I keep thinking the next opponents need to be Blake and Murphy. I think they need to get a big win and get back into the tag team hunt. There's talks about the Hype Bros, but I don't want to see the Hype Bros get that title shot. I really felt like it maybe would be time to debut the Authors of Pain. God, I lost my page here, but it's a tag team that they've debuted. It's only on the live events. It's a couple. Sorry, I lost my page here. NXT Authors of Pain. Yeah, there we go. That says they're cutting heel promos. Let me see what they're. Sorry, I just lost my page here. Oh, good God, I'm about to fuck up these names. Sonny Dinsa and Jazim Solmani. Okay, those are the guys. They're huge guys. They're wearing military style pants, black tank tops, and mask that kind of looks like Bane. I get. Well, no, not Bane because it's more than just the mouthpiece, but it's a dark, kind of like what Montanza has. That black style mask. There's a couple of those guys. I think that'd be a perfect way to debut them. Have them have an American Alpha clear house with all the heels, namely the Revival and Blake and Murphy. And then you can turn around and have the Authors of Pain debut. So, that's what I would like to see here. Let's see. I'll get to comment section later. So keep your questions coming in. After that, Nakamura did a backstage segment, and they come out, and anyway, the next match was Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Alex Riley, the newly released Alex Riley. So he gets an ass kicking on the way out. And what can I say? This was a typical Shinsuke Nakamura match. It was a lot of energy. It was a lot of fun to watch. I guess I liked it for other reasons because Alex Riley gets his ass kicked on the way out. And in all joking, with Nakamura, he gets the win via the Kinshasa. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that right this time. So, I really enjoyed the match. I like Alex Riley getting his ass kicked on the way out. But all bias aside, all kidding aside, do you see a future for Alex Riley in the independents following his release from WWE. I mean, I know he didn't have that much when he came in with NXT like that, like back when it was basically like a reality show where they were doing like the search, they were doing like eliminations. When he came out, yeah, he kind of impressed me. He had a good physique, he had a good look. I think I liked his story. He was just just this cocky guy. I'm better than all of you. My mom's a former Miss Virginia. My dad's like a former all-state quarterback. I'm just boom. I was just born better than you. I like that. And then he got up together with the Miz. But unfortunately, his biggest moment actually came with the Miz when he accompanied him to ringside at WrestleMania 27. That was it. That was as high as his career got. And I hate that everything derailed with him because of that DUI. He got a DUI. He got put, and this was when they were trying to push him out. I think they split him up with the Miz too soon. And then that's when he got busted by the cops. And then I think he started to make a niche for himself as an announcer with NXT. He was actually pretty good, but he had that itch to get back in there. And then he had to be such a douchebag about everything. I mean, the guy was like a fucking internet troll. I mean, not like fending off trolls. I mean, like he was just trolling just for the sake of it, which I can't stand. And after he came back active, nobody cared. And then he got hurt with a knee injury. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to see him. And then he comes back. I thought, okay, well, maybe they're going to, maybe that'll be his storyline, that I'm going to take it out on all your favorites because, you disrespected me. You didn't care about me. So, you know what? I'm going to get back at the fans by hurting the people that you care about. Never really materialized, and it just didn't pan out for him. I actually do, as much as I don't like him, I do wish him the best of luck on the independent circuit. I hope maybe he turns things around. The inevitable question that I'm going to get here, so I'm going to cut you off, internet infantry. That question is, well, is he going to go to TNA? Is he going to go to TNA? I don't know. Should he try? Hell, why not? So there we go. I just answered your question. Nobody's asked this question yet, but I'm going to answer it for you already. Will Alex Riley go to TNA? You know what? I don't know. If I was him, I would at least try. I'd make a few phone calls. Because hell, why not? Dixie Carter's got a fucking hard on for former WWE guys. So, if they could take like a former WWE NXT washout and make him a champion, why couldn't they do that with Alex Riley? So, and I'm talking about EC3. No disrespect to him, but when he was Derek Bateman in NXT, he had nothing going on. He comes over to TNA. They repackage him. Basically, he reinvents himself. Boom, he comes one of their hottest acts. So anybody goes, oh my God, you're ragging on TNA. No, it's not necessarily negative. I'm just stating the facts. Then we go backstage. We have Austin Aries. He's having a meeting with General Manager William Regal. He's talking about his future, but Blake and Murphy interrupt and they demand a title match with American Alpha. They start bickering back and forth. And then so Regal says, you know what, I'll tell you what, I'll make a tag match next week. It'll be Blake and Murphy versus Austin Aries and a partner of his choosing. And Austin Aries says, you know what, hang on, I guess I got to make a phone call. I'm hoping it's Bobby Roode because I know that question's coming. Who do you think it's going to be? I'm hoping and praying that it's Bobby Roode because I want to see the Dirty Heels reunite this time in NXT, and I want to see what they can do there. And plus, I think old A-Double needs to get something going on. I believe he was just there to start working with Baron Corbin, but Corbin got called up, so it kind of like derailed the plans for him. And so he needs to be in some kind of hot angle. He needs to be involved in some kind of program before that shine wears off of him. Because right now he's got that new wrestler smell, and that's about to wear off quickly. So he needs to get in there, and I think this would be the perfect thing for him. Anyway, speaking of Blake and Murphy, their valet, Alexa Bliss, she goes in for a match against Rachael Ellering. And for those of you playing along at home, she is the daughter of Precious Paul Ellering. And if you don't know who that is, first of all, minus 1,000 points to you, but that is the daughter of Paul Ellering. He was the longtime manager of the Road Warriors, just pretty much the Road Warriors. I don't think he ever showed up at the Legion of Doom in the WWF, but back in the WCW days or NWA days, he was their longtime manager. Now he did make some appearances with them later on in the WWE, in the late WWF back in the Attitude Era, back in the late '90s. They kind of ran a bad angle. That's including the angle where Hawk, threatened to jump off Titantron, and that the whole thing with Darren Drozdov, which I really don't want to think about. Back when they had Sonny as their manager, because Ellering turned on them, and it was a clusterfuck. So, but not much to really talk about on that one. Ellering got a little bit more offense in there than what I thought, but ultimately Bliss wins with the Sparkle Splash. Then we go backstage to see the greatest wrestler, the greatest female wrestler in the world today. Oh, yeah, I went there. My homegirl, Bayley, talked about getting strong and wanting to train and get stronger for a rematch against Asuka, but she gets interrupted by Nia Jax. Man, a lot of interruptions. Come to think of it, has there ever been like a meeting in William Regal's office or backstage with the people where it has not been interrupted? You think William Regal would have like a door and lock it or something after this point, because it's like, hey, William Regal, I wanted to just talk to you about catering here, and then just somebody else just barges in. Happens all the time. That's just one of my little, I guess, peeves about wrestling. It's just these people just like stuff I don't think people would really do. They just walk up. You don't hear a door slam or anything. They just walk on in and like interrupt. But anyway, I'm grasping straws here. But Nia Jax says, yeah, I did lose a match, but you know what? After my loss, I got stronger. You got weaker. And says, and then Baylor's like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I did get choked out. But if I recall correctly, I choked you out and I beat you in London. And then Nia Jax says, well, you know what? If I guess, let's basically challenge us to a match, which is accepted. So we'll have that next week. Then next we have Finn Balor versus Elias Samson. Again, a pretty typical Finn Balor match. For those of you wondering, he had some black tape on his shoulder. I believe his left shoulder. He's actually been wrestling with a banged up shoulder right now. I thought a lot of people, including me, thought the ankle was going to be a big deal, but apparently I think the shoulder is a bigger issue. And if that's the case, I would not have him wrestling right now. Especially if I'm about to debut him. I think everybody's saying keep an eye out for, I believe it's the May 23rd Raw, which will be a week from this Monday, to keep an eye on that. If that's the case, I'd keep him off. I'd just keep him off TV, and I would want that shoulder to heal. I'd want his ankle to heal. I want him to be 100%, especially if I'm about to send him up to the main roster, because nothing would suck more than debuting a new guy and having him get hurt. Because that happened to Eddie Guerrero back when they debuted the Radicals. They laid out, I forgot who they laid out that night, but on that Monday Night Raw. But Eddie Guerrero did that frog splash off the top, immediately grabs his elbow. He was out for like months after that. I think he still participated in some angles and stuff, but he couldn't wrestle. I'm just worried something like that will happen to Balor. So I would say keep him off. But eventually he roughs up Samson, hits the 1916. That's the move formerly known as the Bloody Sunday. Gets the pin, gets the win, grabs the microphone, saying he's not taking anything away from Samoa Joe, but he wants his rematch. And it's like, I'm possessed and I'm going to, like a demon stalking his prey. And then the champ comes out, and then these two look, they're about to have a showdown, but William Regal runs in and announces that, you know what, you two are not going to brawl. This is not your ring. This is my ring. This is an NXT ring. And he announces basically their fourth match will take place at a TakeOver at Full Sail University on June the 8th. So I'm excited about that. I love the banter. They still continue the banter between Samoa Joe. Like, no, he hasn't earned it. No, he goes to the back of the line, to which Finn Balor replies, no, I am the line, Joe. And then he flipped over the top rope, splashed onto Samoa Joe, then tells him, enjoy this while it lasts, drops the belt on him, and then we go off the air. So it wasn't a horrible episode. It just was not it was just, I think it was just it was an average show. It was like one of those, hey, if you're telling a friend about it and said, hey, they said, hey, well, what is this NXT thing all about? You can say, like, here, take a look at this episode. This is pretty much an average of what you'll see with NXT, and then just show them this episode. So it wasn't bad, but it just wasn't absolutely just fucking mind-blowing. So that's my thoughts on NXT. So if you missed it, if you skip this week's episode, I don't think you're going to miss too terribly much. Let's see. It's one of those I probably wouldn't go on my way to rewatch it, but if I did, I would suggest watching the probably, if nothing else, just the Riley Nakamura match. Everything else you can kind of skip. Maybe you want to see the showdown between Finn Balor and Samoa Joe at the end, but that's really about it. So I'm actually looking forward to next week, as we'll have a tag team match. We're going to have a mystery partner with Austin Aries. We're also going to see Nia Jax and Bayley tied up one more time. So that should definitely be a lot of fun. So let's get to comment and question time. Andy Paps, this is the NXT review, not the Lucha Underground review. That's coming up shortly. Sammy's the only one who watches that live because he's the only one who has the El Rey network. Myself, LK, Coco, we've got to watch it via internet magic because we don't have it. But that review will be coming up within the next 24 hours. So please stay tuned. And if you're not subscribed to us, please do that on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We're cranking out at least a show a day now. You definitely need to be part of that. And a lot of you are, so I do appreciate that. So thank you very much. My favorite moments from tonight's show, just probably Nakamura kicking the shit out of Alex Riley. I've already answered that question. Should Balor be a heel? You know what? I don't know. He hasn't really played a heel in WWE yet. I mean, I think it'd be something interesting. But then again, Big E never did either until he debuted on the main roster as Dolph Ziggler's, I guess, bodyguard, for lack of a better term. So, things could turn around. Let's see. Is Nakamura the next opponent for Samoa Joe after Balor? You know what? I don't know. I figured why not, but I'm going to ask you this, Internet Infantry. We're going to play over under. I'm going to say something, and I want you to, if you would take the over under on this. So the over under I'm going to set here is January 1st, 2017. So Internet Infantry, I want you to tell me over or under. Shinsuke Nakamura will debut on the main roster. Do you think that's going to happen before January 1st, 2017 or after New Year's Day, 2017? So over under New Year's Day, 2017, will Nakamura, is he going to debut before or after that? That's my question right there. So over under on Nakamura, because I guarantee they're trying to rush him up. I think they may give him like the Kevin Owens treatment, where they just rush him through in about 6 months. NXT feels old. Listen. Booms, who will be your heel tag team? You talk about with Austin Aries? I would just say, no, like I said, I was hoping it was Bobby Roode with the dirty heels. Maybe you need to clarify. Does NXT need to be live? Your thought? You know what? I would not mind them trying to see them do like a regular live show. I think you could do so. I think TNA actually did this where one episode was live. Then after that, they recorded about another 2 or 3 weeks worth of television. But yeah, I would love to see them do that just to see, how they can handle that, and plus, try to get their talent used to like Monday Night Raw. But you kind of run a risk there because there are no edits, there are no second takes. Everything's there spot on, so you'd have to have your A team out there and have to have your game on. So yeah, Ray, I would love to see NXT do at least one. Are you excited for Return of Bash to the Beach? No, not really, because I don't care. It's just another pay-per-view. They're just changing the name. I mean, it's just You know, call it, Backlash, call it Bad Blood, call it In Your House, whatever. It's just a different name for a pay-per-view. Rebook the Nexus, no thank you, because that's more time than what I would care to do. Where is LK? That's a good question. He messaged me today and said, hey, do you want to do a review tonight? I'm finally, I'm going to be free. I've got this job. I'm making more money. And I told him, yeah, and he even knew about, this would be a little late, but he's about 5 hours ahead of me. And so right now, it would be about almost 4 o'clock in the morning where he's at right now. So I kind of don't blame him for being asleep. Let's see. Dirty Heels versus American Alpha would be amazing. How would you book that match? I would just not have them touch each other. I would see, Andy, I would have them, I'd just build them up. I mean, right now you don't have to do much with American Alpha. I would just have them keep winning, and then I would have the Dirty Heels actually do that, just turn heel and just just run through people, just beat up jobbers, and just say, we're the greatest, we're the best, basically kind of like what they do with the Addiction. And then boom, have them collide in a takeover. That's what I would do. What if Vince gave the company to Shane in 2009? I don't know. What would have happened? I have no idea. What are your thoughts on the EC3 promo at Evolve? I've heard about it, but I haven't read it because I've actually got to go back and watch both those shows. It was, I think, Evolve 61 and Evolve 62. I've heard some good stuff about it, and I'm going to go check them out. That's that's on my to-do list for this weekend. Is check out these Evolve, check out the Evolve shows. I really haven't given Evolve a fair shake, so I'm going to do that. Why is EC3 still with TNA? The guy would be a bigger star in WWE. Well, Ray, as I mentioned, WWE had him. They had him. He wrestled as Derek Bateman, and he was doing all this crazy stuff trying to get himself over. He was pitching these crazy ideas, like he called himself like Mr. USA guy. The guy, they just didn't know what to do with him. And so he gets his release, then he goes knocking on TNA's door, and TNA goes, well, here's this guy, he's jacked up. I know. And they gave him a huge rub. I mean, they, made him like the kayfabe nephew of Dixie Carter, and they just pushed him to the moon, and they really let him just be him, and his talent really shine through. Now, I think would WWE be reinterested in him again? I heard at one point maybe they were, but I don't know. Just EC3 is one of those guys who he was basically just one of the ones that got away from WWE, and I wish him the best of luck, and I hope maybe he comes back. I really do. Let's see, Ronnie Soms. Hey, Boom Boom, I definitely agree with you about that douchebag Joe Donnell from PW Torch about his article about this No Moss match. He could go F himself for calling cheerleader Melissa to reign 17 years. Yeah. Actually, I think it has been 17 years, man. She debuted in 99. So, this is, and I know I'm saying this kind of late because I had to look up a name of a tag team I was talking about because I lost my place. But it usually helps if you know what the fuck you're talking about, at least, instead of just like looking at shit and going, well, here's my initial thoughts on doing no fucking research. I mean, I know it comes across as like me, Coco, LK, Sammy, we're just out here fucking around. But believe it or not, we actually watch the stuff that we're reviewing. And if we've got questions on things, we'll look it up. And we have like knowledge of wrestling history because we're colossal fucking nerds. But yeah, at least at least rest assured, when we come out with these off the wall opinions, at least we can back up why we believe what we believe and why we say what we say. It was just like, dude, did you even watch this fucking program? Do you even know what this fucking program's about? I mean, what I had to accept with Lucha Underground, and I think apparently, him and some other people, can't just get their heads around is this is not your traditional wrestling company. This is not WWE. This is not TNA. This is not Ring of Honor. This is not New Japan. This is not Evolve. This is Lucha Underground is a TV show. It's no different than Arrow. It's no different than Criminal Minds. It's no different than 2.5 Men. It's a TV show. It's an actual it's a drama. Basically, it's a telenovela about a wrestling company that has magic in it. That's pretty much the best way to sum it up. And if you can't just, it's like a popcorn flick. It's like Independence Day. It's just one of those, well, no, don't try to make sense of it. You just sit your ass down, get you a bowl of popcorn, and enjoy the fucking ride. That's how you have to treat Lucha Underground. And a lot of people, and here's a lot of the criticism, and if it's not your cup of tea, that's fine. That's your business, and I understand, because it's not for everybody. I will be the first to admit that Lucha Underground is not for everybody. But once I kind of got my head around that, okay, this is a TV show, not your typical wrestling promotion, I enjoyed it a hell of a lot more, and I treat it like a TV show instead of like a wrestling promotion. I mean, yeah, it's got some great wrestling in it. It's got some great luchadors. In fact, it's really opened up the door to Lucha Libre for me, which I'm like, wow, I actually kind of like this. I hadn't limited knowledge of it, because the only luchadors we saw, at least here in the United States, on the big stage was through WCW back in the day. And this is just like, wow, they're giving these guys time. They're talking about and plus you have Vampiro on there. He brings out the history, talks about the culture, and it's almost to me like an educational experience. So that's why I really enjoy it. But going back to something else here. What I hate about critics and detractors is they talk about WWE and they're like, well, they've got a monopoly here. They're too big. We want something different. We need something different. Wrestling fans need an alternative. Well, here comes this company that's doing something completely different than everybody else, which really makes them stand out. And then they're being criticized. Well, this is not like WWE. Well, no shit, Sherlock. You fucking said you wanted a fucking alternative. You said you wanted something different. And then finally something comes that way, and then now you're criticizing it for not essentially being a carbon copy of WWE. What the fuck do you want? Do you want a WWE clone, or do you want something different? You can't have both. You can't have something different and have it also be like WWE. They defeat the fucking purpose of each other. All right, but enough of that. Thoughts on Evolution? Yeah, it was a cool stable. What was happening? Let's see. Besides his entrance and face paint, what is Balor's character? Balor is just a good wrestler. I mean, I watched his stuff in New Japan. Actually, first time I ever saw him, I heard a buzz about him, and I watched a few videos like on YouTube of him. But I really saw him for the first time at Wrestle Kingdom 8. Who did he wrestle? I'm trying to. Shit, I cannot think of it right now off the top of my head. But shit. I thought it was Tanahashi, but it wasn't Tanahashi. Shit, I can't remember. But I was like, whoa, this guy's actually really good. And then you see a little bit more of him, and the next thing I know, boom, WWE scooped him up. So he's worth checking out. I think and that's all you really need to be. I mean, he's just an Irish guy who can wrestle circles around you. That's his character. Let's see here. Whoops. Sorry. There we go. NXT was a lackluster show. I kind of agree with you. Booms, who will be your heel host? Who will be your heel host on KocoSports? I don't know. I hate being called the heel, because look, I just, yes, I bust Coco's balls, and I know I probably shouldn't say this because I don't want to spoil anything. Me and Dave don't hate each other behind the scenes. We're not angry at each other. Just sometimes we disagree because, I disagreed with him last night about the, agreement with Ring of Honor and New Japan, because, he's a huge, and he'll even tell you he's a huge fan of New Japan. And I'm a fan of New Japan too. Not as big as Coco, but I'm still a fan. And, I just thought, he was a little, I just didn't think he was making a good point about New Japan. And then, Naito having to wrestle on the undercard. And particularly, I can't, Coco's views on non-title matches. I agree with them to an extent that, you shouldn't constantly have non-title matches, but I do think they're necessary from time to time. Not all the time, but, they're okay, because to me, it's like, kayfabe-wise, it's like, just because I go in there and get to a tiff with a champion does not automatically mean I'm owed a title shot. And, I'm not saying the champion shouldn't always defend his title, but you got to come up with, basically like a ranking system. If you're going to have a ranking system where this guy, and build up to this guy, that's fine. But when you don't have that, it's like, fuck you. I'm not putting my title on the line just because you fucking walk through the fucking ropes, whatever. So no, me and Coco don't, actually hate each other. I enjoy, but dude, I've worked with a guy for almost 10 years now, believe it or not. Good God, I've been doing this fucking forever. And, I like to bust his balls from time to time because, the man's like my brother. And, just like brothers, I like to bust his balls a little bit. So, have some fun with it. Boom, boom. I hear that Sexy Star wants to be on NXT as a part-timer. That's the first I've heard it. I heard from a Spanish news reports, who would you put Sexy to feud with? Ooh. Do you really have to ask? I would have her work with everybody down there. I would like to see her work with Bayley. I like to see her work with Asuka. I would particularly like to see her work with Carmella and Alexa Bliss. Oh man, that would just be all. And I hope they let her keep the mask, because I think a luchador would just go over like gangbusters over there. And plus, if I wanted to be an asshole, I could be like, look, okay, not only that, but not only can we have like a new female wrestler, and we appeal to the Hispanic demographic, but we can also, market that mask. And, boom, we got more merchandise to sell. Not only can we sell people a sexy, they might change their name. They may not. I think they might, because of the Sexy Star might be a little too risque for NXT and WWE and their PG atmosphere. I'm just guessing, but then again, stranger things have happened. They've been letting a lot of people keep their names as of late. But with that, I'd be like, well, you know what, guys? You know what? Not only can we sell a Sexy Star T-shirt, but we can also sell a Sexy Star mask. So that's how I would pitch that. But I would love to see that, and I think she's over huge in the United States. I think I've sent her a tweet, but I think next time I'm gonna just run it through Google Translate to translate it into Spanish and send it to her next time. But basically, I just said, hey man, you're really big here in the United States. Why don't you come up here full time? It was basically the gist of it. So I hope she does. I hope she, come. I would love to see her come up to the United States full time. Come on, look at it. We're seeing Asuka here full time. We're seeing Nakamura here full time now. I would love to see, Sexy Star up here in the U.S. full time. Women's division in NXT so still right now. They need more competition to make it interesting to get. Yeah, they do have some new girls getting ready to come up. Again, they haven't played them up so much, but you got Peyton Royce and you've got Peyton Royce. I cannot think of her name right now. Fuck me, I guess. And then you got Athena. She's about ready to come up. They've got several other girls that they're wrestling on live events right now. They're getting ready to bring them up, and I think the only reason they're keeping Bayley in there right now is to kind of hold down the fort, because right now, if you send Bayley up, there is nobody. There is fucking nobody for Asuka to feud with. There is nobody to carry the women's division along with Asuka. Asuka will basically walk in and be like, okay, I'm going to be the queen here until basically they call me up, and you're going to have to strip the title from me and hold a tournament. So I think that's why that's going on. So I would say, Rennie, they just had some, I would say be patient with it. You're going to have to build it up, because remember, NXT's tag team division was so stale and so boring at one point, because they only had 2 tag teams at one point. You had the Vaudevillains, and then you had Blake and Murphy, and that was it. That was the only tag team you had. And then all of a sudden, they really started focusing on tag team wrestling, and they turned that division around. So just be patient for them on the women's division. Andy Paps, Los Ingobernables versus Bullet Club type treatment. King Kong versus Godzilla, and I was there live and I love Evolve. I marked out when EC3 jumped in the ring. Please don't spoil it for me, Andy, but yeah, I'm going to watch Evolve, so no spoilers for that, please. But, actually, I would love to see Los Ingobernables versus Bullet Club, because I would, for that, I would turn Los Ingobernables de Japan, I would turn them face for that, because once they get done running through everybody and it's time to turn, You know, you could just have Bullet Club say that, you know what, you know, I would have them not win all the championships in New Japan, but I would have them win a lot of gold. Both U.S. and Japan have a lot of gold on them, and just be like, you know what, we rule the world. We're the ones who set the rules now. You're gonna have to get in line, and then you just bring out Los Ingobernables, and they're like, you know what, we really don't like following rules too much. In fact, we like to make our own. And then boom, just pit those two stables against each other. Dude, that should be your New Japan. Write this fucking shit down. Fucking Wrestle Kingdom. Do like a Los Ingobernables, de Japan versus Bullet Club in fucking Wrestle Kingdom 11. Oh shit! I mean, dude, you got plenty of time to build that up. Oh my god! Thank you, Andy. That is like the best fucking idea ever. Yeah, I don't think that was the intent of your idea, but shit, that's a good idea. I would love to see those two factions bump heads. In fact, I would love to see Los Ingobernables do what they're doing with the Bullet Club's doing, where they have members right now. You know, it started in Mexico, then it went to Japan. I'd like to see them over. We talked about this last night on our Ring of Honor review when we reviewed War of the Worlds. I would love to see them take guys in Ring of Honor, and I was thinking mainly it would be people that are faces. They're just got nothing going for them. People who are just stale. I would probably take, you know, like that faction that Prince Nana is building up right now with Caprice Colvin, Matt, not Riviera. It was Matt. Anyway, him and Donovan Dijak, or maybe even ACH, and to give them like the Naito treatment where they, you know, kind of have them turn heel, not give a damn, and start Matt Ferrara. Thank you for Matt Ferrara. And have them just kind of do the Naito, you know, we don't give a damn anymore. We're just going to kind of do what we want, you know, and hopefully that'll be the thing that'll spark there, because I would love to see, you know, in basically like a Bullet Club versus Los Ingobernables feud that just goes all over the globe. Dude, that would be fucking amazing. It's kind of like, you know, I mean, it's been done before in NWA USA, NWO Japan. Yeah, I could totally see that happen again. NXT is slowly really transforming into TNA slowly. Yeah, it is, I guess. Let's see. Boom Boom and LK, have you checked the free online exclusive match with Phoenix and Jack Evans that Lucha Underground released a few days ago? It's on YouTube. No, it wasn't. But no, I would love to check that out. I thank you. I'll tell you what, I'll check that out sometime before we do the Lucha Underground show. So thank you, Rennie. I will check that out on YouTube. Booms, you heard Adam Rose got arrested. Yes, I did. And he's been suspended indefinitely because of this. Yeah, I think it's a shitty situation, but and people are going to ask me my thoughts on this. You know, what's going to happen? I think boom, he's done. I think at this point he's done. The WWE has already said there's going to be another round of cuts, but possibly later this month. I think he's first on that list right now. I think they're making another list right now, and his name just got moved to the top of it. It's just a bad situation altogether, because it was just a domestic situation that you never want to get involved with. Unfortunately, that kind of crap happens. You know, from what I read, you know, apparently him and his wife got into an argument over their marriage. He grabbed her by the face to pull her closer to him, you know, and was yelling at her. She went to go call the cops, and he knocked the phone out of her hand. So now he's got a charge of, you know, basically, you know, and believe it or not, knocking the phone out of his hand, believe it or not, out of his wife's hands was actually the bigger offense, because beforehand he was just looking at like what misdemeanor assault or something, and now that he knocked the phone out of her hand when she was calling police, that's considered witness tampering, and that's a felony. So I hope he gets a really good lawyer and maybe tries to plead this down. But but after this, you know, particularly like, you know, like the Ray Rice thing in the NFL, the WWE wants to avoid a similar scandal like that. So I think he's good as gone, and maybe he can turn things around for himself. I really hope so. Let's see. LK is not here, so he can't give you the thoughts of the Global War show. two super cool factions. Omega versus Naito, Wrestle Kingdom 11. Oh yeah, and Too Sweetly. Too Sweetly. All right, it looks like that's going to be everything right now for the comments, unless anything comes in. I want to thank everybody for watching, but I want to tell everybody in the meantime, before we get our Lucha Underground show up, hopefully LK is going to have a Impact review coming up shortly, then a SmackDown review. I would say, in the meantime, go to KocoSports.com, KocoSports.net, takes you to the same place. It's your home for combat sports. It's where the world goes to kick ass, and most importantly, where it's okay to be a passionate wrestling fan. And also check out ProWrestling.me. It's our pro wrestling hub for professional wrestling fans. We've got news and gossip on there. We've also got links to our blogs and forums. So if you want to basically write a piece about what you think's going on, if you want to talk about the releases, if you want to talk about maybe pitching an idea why Bullet Club versus Los Ingobernables should happen, you can write that up there on the blog. You can, it's all, you can do it. If you signed up for it, you can do that. You're free to do so. You will be uncut and uncensored, just the way it should be. Also go on the forums. We're already believe it or not, we're already tallying up what do you think the best matches of 2016 are already. It's actually starting to grow now. I've got 3 picks on there. Coco's got 3 picks on there. Some of our listeners, they're putting up suggestions. So join in the conversation if you haven't already. And thank you to those who've signed up. I just want those of you who've signed up to be a little bit more active, have some more fun. So be sure to check that out. Johnny Overa, what did you think of the No Mas match with Mariposa and Sexy Star? Well, easy. I enjoyed it, but if you want to really hear my thoughts on it, we did a review on here. So if you're subscribed to us on YouTube, you can actually go back, Johnny, and you can go find our Lucha Underground review, and we talk just in length about this. I mean, we go fucking just me, Sammy, Coco, we go absolutely fucking crazy about this match. So please be sure to check it out on our archives. So you know what? That's going to do it for me. I want to thank everybody for joining us here. So this is Boom Boom, and for my partners, Sammy, LK, and Coco, the boom just went bang, and I am out.